Welcome to DJ Cough Talk, you beautiful hairless monkeys.
There you go.
Oh, there
You're
it is.
back.
Okay.
All right.
Recording.
All right. We're here with
Cheers,
Mr.
boys.
Ike McDermott.
Mr. Ike.
Cheers, guys.
Yes.
Cheers.
There you go.
Cheers.
What's Rockwell Collins? Like a local company?
Yeah, it is. I don't really know what they do, but a few of my roommates have had internships with them throughout their undergrad
Nice.
careers, and so yeah, they always got the hookup with different sorts of goodies.
All that swagger. That's what they call it. They call
All the
it
swagger, all the
Yeah.
swagger. Yeah.
I think it's actually where it came from, but it sounds very like wrong if you grew up in our generation, because swag was kind of like a hip term, and then businesses will call it swagger. You're like,
Did that predate swag?
I think it did. I don't know actually. It might have been a hip hop thing, and then it came to that kind of went through
Corporate,
culture, and then corporate picked it up. I don't know though.
Swag. They did over advertise their stuff with swagger.
Did they really? So talent weird.
Yeah, it was definitely, I think, a younger term, and then the bigger corporations like, oh, get some swag from us. I think that became more of a term.
It was supposed to like disarm people and be like, oh, they're one of us, but it's like
yeah, exactly.
Just weird.
It should feel weird.
All that drip. We'll be saying drip in 5 years.
Oh goodness. In 5 years, I think we're gonna start feeling old in 5 years.
I hope not, dude.
I'm feeling old already.
Old souls. We're all kind of old souls, to be honest. At least the three of us.
I feel like now the generations are like moving faster too. So I think 5 years is going to be a lot, though. I feel like back in the day, like the 70s, like it wasn't as big of a deal. Like there wasn't as much movement in the generation or like change.
Much innovation, much change.
Yeah. Like music,
I feel
we stayed about the same, but like now it feels like there's a new genre of like music every day, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Devin, you just disappeared. There you go.
He's back.
You're back.
He's dark in the corner. I don't think they
Back,
get
he's back in black.
Back in black. My hair's all fucked up. It doesn't matter.
We got to work on the sliding.
Yeah.
Sure, though. Or just remove the stage. Move it over there.
Have y'all seen that one? It's like a circle light. A lot of
the new boat. It's not
a new ring.
Yeah.
Where's your mind, Jack?
Yeah. Oops.
Oops.
Yeah, the Halo ring or whatever. Though I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know if it works or not, but I've seen like people that do videos like this. It helps create an equal lighting right next to it lights up the stage, I guess.
Yeah. People do it for like makeup tutorials. Girls do it for that, I think, a lot because it gets like every bit of it. And
sure.
Yeah.
The contour.
The contours.
So I can't tell. Do you have half your eyebrow shaved, or do you have like a?
Unless you did do it a little bit. Was that stylish?
Yeah, a little bit.
Was that like
I was at the barber and I was like, you know what? Let's just do a little slit through the eyebrow. She goes, oh hell yes, we're doing it. She didn't ask me how I wanted it. It's not what I wanted. I wanted more of a through it rather than just straight down. But I'm still going with it. It's just an eyebrow.
It'll grow back.
Have y'all seen the people that shave their eyebrows?
Yeah.
It's so trippy. Like eyebrows are things you just take for granted so much until they're gone. They're like, "What? You're a different species."
Mm-hmm. Start looking like a lizard.
Yeah.
Oof.
Like a lizard human.
Yeah.
That's what you're going for, man.
Imagine just one eyebrow. And the other one's just like, something would be. You would see him and you'd be like, something's off here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or just half of each. So you just had like little nubs. Go to the corner. These ones.
That'd be hilarious. That'd be awesome.
What if that's did you ever think that'd be a fashion trend?
Yeah, what if you just do like a bunch of these all the way through, a bunch of slits, so it's just like
I think people do that. Yeah.
That might be cool.
Might be.
So,
I just feel like you have to have a certain like you gotta have like a certain attitude to you to pull it off. Like your like aura, if that makes sense, like energy to your personality. Because if you're just like
I
really
feel
quiet and you got a bunch of slits in your eyebrows, then people would be like, oh, maybe I'm just
It's an odd
projecting and
one.
judging, but I mean, people would.
I feel that the 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 look will give you the persona though. I feel like
Really? Chicken.
I feel when I used to grow a mullet, as soon as I grew the mullet, I was a different person. For I don't know why, but
What would you do differently?
Gave you that energy.
I don't feel like I did anything different, but it was just like I had a different outlook on everything. I had the mullet was speaking for me.
Hell yeah.
Do you
I
have any,
love.
do you have any crazy stories from the mullet time? That whole arc.
Oof. Well, it's not. I don't know. It wasn't a phase because I don't know if you guys can tell, but
I was gonna say still kind of rocking it a
I,
little bit, right?
I just cut it the other day to like start doing it again. Some people go through the phase, but it's definitely a lifestyle for me, and
Really?
What do you
I really I enjoy it. I enjoy the
tell
mullet.
your
I
barber?
didn't. What's that?
What do you tell your barber when you go in? You're like, can I have like a baby mullet or?
Or did you grow it out? Did you grow it? Kind of not exactly his question, so I don't mean to distract the flow of where we're going here. But did you grow out your hair really long and then cut it, or was it like you just
So the
said?
first time, yeah, the first time that I grew it had to be about 4 years ago. I grew out all the hair just because I wanted to grow out long hair, and then I was like, all right, this is getting to be too much. I've always wanted to do a mullet. Let's do it. So I just went to I think I went to like a Sports Clips. You guys know what that is, or
Yeah.
that's one of those places. And I was like, yo, I just want a mullet, and they're like, really, you do? I was like, do people
My whole
people not do
in this moment.
do people not do that anymore? It's like if you ask me again, I might change my mind, but let's just do it right now.
Yeah.
Stop the table, do it right now. Get it over with.
But this time I'm just casually doing it. I had it a little longer before, and it's like cut the sides, let the back keep going, keep it clean.
Keep it clean.
Keep it classy.
Yeah.
Was it like a hit with like girls and stuff, or was it like a hit or miss?
Oh, absolutely. They loved it. Yeah.
Timeless hair.
No, they didn't. No, I actually, it actually did not help me at all. But
Actually, though, no.
but all my buddies thought it was cool. All the guys thought it was sick. I'd walk into a bar and yeah, and actually I picked up more dudes with it than I did chicks for sure. They just come out to me like, yo, dude, sick mullet. That's a sick mullet. And I was like, fuck yeah, man. Thanks. I appreciate it.
That's such a boys move. It's like a move for the boys.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The girls were like, oh, cool, whatever. Funny story. One time I did pick up a girl with it. Not really pick up, but she starts flirting with me in the bar. She goes, oh my gosh, I love your curls. Cause I got real curly hair. And not exaggerating, it used to be like down here, like I could like go like this and it'd move back and forth.
You're rough.
And I was like, oh, thanks. I took off my hat and she goes, oh shit, you have a mullet? And I was like, I thought you were just complimenting me on it. She goes, oh my goodness. She goes, no, I thought you just had super long, luscious hair. And I was like, well, I mean, it's kind of, isn't it?
I mean, you do, right?
Tab, yeah.
Why just because the sides are shaved? Why does that change your opinion of it?
Exactly. I mean, I'm glad you understand, Devin. I'm glad you understand.
You gotta win
What's
me
that?
over. You gotta win me over. He's with it, but you gotta win me over.
Yeah, you still think about Jack. I see when you get tired of growing out your flow, you might as well just grow it into a mullet, man.
Business in the front. Why not?
Absolutely. It's a classic move.
I'm just trying to live vicariously through you because I was promptly told my girlfriend when I said I was going to do a mullet, she's like, I will break up with you. I was like, fuck, okay.
That's classic.
Mullets.
Do you get any working? Has anybody mentioned anything about the hairstyle at the hospital? Did anybody give a fuck?
Not. I never had a crazy mullet while I was working there. It's more of a recent job, but I wear like a hair cap. And, we got masks and shields on nowadays, so there's not a lot. Like people don't really recognize hairstyle right now.
Yeah, there's bigger problems in the air.
Yeah.
It's not a fucking mullet.
You can't treat
You
them.
know,
We cannot treat them anymore. No more masks. Get the fuck out of here with that pussy ass bullshit. What has it been like for you working at that hospital though? Because it's a more recent job, but I mean there's a lot been going on.
Yeah, I actually fell into it right, about a week or two before the national headline coronavirus news, the COVID-19. So I got into it right when all the shit started, per se. And I work in the emergency room, and I never experienced anything crazy. We at our hospital we were lucky enough not to be overwhelmed with patient intake in the ER at least. Other departments, I know the ICU had a little bit of an influx, but we were never, to my understanding, too scared or worried. And we actually lost a lot of our patients. Like a lot of our patients didn't lose our patients, but people didn't come in as much, especially in the emergency room. We saw I wasn't working there before it, but all my coworkers are like, man, dude, this is so slow today. We got barely anything to do. We're so bored.
Wow.
Nobody wants to come in anymore because they're scared,
Apparently people
But
are coming in even when they have actual, like they should be coming in because they're afraid they might get
right,
corona, right? That's what I've heard from a couple people is like they could have have a heart attack or something, and then they're like, I don't want to go because I don't want to get corona at the hospital. So
exactly. So that went on for about 2 months, I'd say, and then past 2 weeks, it's been picking up again. We get more. They call them frequent flyers, people who come in a lot that don't need to come in, but that looking for different resources that they can get at the hospital that they can't get on the streets.
Okay.
But I don't know, nothing. Just the change of having to. I was there for a week, and I didn't have to wear a mask or a shield. But after that week, they're like, okay, you got to start doing this, this, and this. And I was like, oh wow, definitely a change of pace for my first 2 weeks there, and then it changed. I have fun there. No, all my coworkers, they're not like when they do go in to treat a COVID patient or to test them. They put on the proper. It's called BSI, and they go in there. They're not like worried. They're like, oh my gosh, I have to go in here. I don't want to go in here. You go in there. You treat it as any other patient.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the emphasis on the BSI and like the PPE is gonna die down as this dies on, or do you think that's gonna like at least stick around a little bit longer?
I think generally, so overall in the hospital I work at, where you always have to have a face mask on or a shield
Mm-hmm.
as an employee, and even the visitors that come in, every single one has to have a face mask on. I don't think that'll keep going on. I know in my department, a lot of my coworkers don't like having to wear. We want either one or the other, if need be. We don't want to have to wear both of them. It makes for a long day. These masks aren't light. You get headaches. Your neck hurts. The mask for a long time. People were getting their ears were getting cut up from the like the strings around, and there's been multiple generous people who have donated and created different little devices to tie around your head instead, or
Mm-hmm.
but I don't see it sticking for forever.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
It's definitely surreal though. I mean, it's like how many times has this happened in every 100 years?
Right.
Something like this was 1918, right?
What was that? What do they say, the Spanish flu back then?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And people kind of, more or less, the government and businesses stayed functional, and people just died off. Just but geez.
How's the talk at the hospital? Do you guys talk much about like how you think it might play out, or are you guys basically just like day to day, like whatever happens, or? You guys worried about maybe like a second wave?
Um, the people that I talk to that's we don't talk about it a whole lot. We're basically just not complaining, but saying like, okay, we're ready for this to be like all this stuff to be over.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of with the riots that broke out and everything over the nation, everyone was expecting a huge influx because avoid big crowds. You're still supposed to quarantine yourself. We haven't seen an increase in the past 2-3 weeks.
Really?
Yeah. Here at least.
Interesting. I think I didn't look too far into it, but people are saying that there was a spike here. But I try to avoid saying anything without like actually looking it up and doing research.
Right. Now, I mean, I don't know this. I don't know the statistics on it for sure. Maybe there has, but the way that my coworkers and I have been acting and dealing with patients, it hasn't changed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you say you got into the hospital a couple weeks before like the national news broke. Did you know about kind of COVID going on? Because I mean, obviously, it was going on in the world a lot longer before like it made news.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I just seeing stuff about it. It's about like overseas and how it was the cruise ships and stuff like that. Actually, at my other job at a restaurant, I remember talking to one of my buddies. We are just like, yo, man, we're sitting here kind of working a normal job right here, kind of joking about it, but who knows? Like it could hit us in the next week or 2 weeks, and then sure enough, the next week we were all shut down, and so it was definitely, we didn't take it as serious. Some people were like, oh, so sketched out because those people were also watching the news 24/7, but we definitely weren't prepared for it.
Was there any hesitation for you when you were going into that job because you knew about it, or did that draw you to working at the hospital more?
No, I was kind of indifferent. I knew that I was going to be dealing with patients either way. If somebody comes in for one reason, I'm not going to treat them any different than a different patient, besides the extra precaution. But I was just very excited to get a position in the hospital.
Yeah, that's exciting, man. Overall, like, how are you liking it?
Oh, it's fun. It's fun. I like my coworkers. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I look forward to meeting more people through there that can help me on my way through med school and whatnot. So that's what I really enjoy about it. I enjoy talking to all the doctors and the nurses. I gained a new perspective about the nurses' workday, what they do, and a new respect for them. Absolutely.
You kind of feed off of that too, because you're very extroverted. So I feel like
Yeah.
You learn better actually doing it, as opposed to theory.
Exactly. Yeah.
Looking at how the cell breaks down energy, you're like, I'd rather just talk to some people and figure out like what actually happens when this happens.
Yeah.
So that's the Mappy for you, man. It's a good. So if you notice, I've been kind of pointing around on the screen and scruffling over here. That's not a good word, but I've been trying to split the screen in half. That's what I've been trying to do, but that's
okay.
Been having issues over here.
I think it's worth noting for the couple people that watch this podcast that this is like a different, at least for me, a different side of Ike, the professional talking about working in a hospital.
May we bring up Brooke, or is she not allowed in this?
Oh man, Brooke, yes.
We can always cut that audio if that's a no.
Brooke, yeah, no, absolutely. So give the people like a background. Like, how do you know me? Do they know that? Does anybody know who I am to you guys?
Not yet. I don't think
so we'll probably do an intro and explain it a little bit. But Jack, do you wanna?
Sure. So I met Mr. Ike here. I hate talking like to imaginary audiences, but I met him freshman year. How did we meet exactly? I'm blanking a little bit.
I think we were at the gym.
Was it really? Yeah. Holy shit, that's weird. Like I think I picked up a machine after you, and then we shot the shit.
Something like that. Yeah.
Like, oh, you live at AZ So? And I was like, yeah, you live at AZ So. And then
Yeah. Yes.
we started hanging out more second semester. Then I don't know. I think we talked in the kitchen a couple times too. But I don't know, freshman year met, and then started. Your full personality came out like a peacock. We started hanging out, and then
Yeah.
we threw dildos on ceilings. It was a great time.
Oh, that was classic freshman year, man. Unfortunately, my time in Arizona was cut short, but
Yeah, what was that like for you, honestly, coming all the way out west from Iowa?
I loved it, man. I plan on applying to the University of Arizona Med School because I just love Arizona so much, just based off the 1 year and the few times that I've been back there.
Hmm.
But coming right out of high school, just going somewhere that I didn't know anybody, it was cool. I enjoyed it. That was my initial plan out of high school.
Mm.
I applied to West Coast schools, Colorado. I didn't even think about applying to anywhere in state because I didn't want to hang out with the same people anymore.
Yeah.
I just wanted to move away, meet new people, have new experiences, and that's exactly what I got going to U of A. Absolutely.
So was it a total? It was two full years you were down here?
No, I was only there 1 year. I was there my freshman year.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah.
Made such a big impact. I thought you were here for 2 years. Shit.
I think I was only there my
Yeah, you're only there freshman year, because I remember you're
yeah
supposed to move with us sophomore year. Or
yeah.
I wanted you to. You weren't supposed to, but I had contacted you, and I was like, man, it would have been dope to have you at our house.
Mentioned it, yeah.
Jesus Christ! Could you imagine?
Yeah, it was the one you yeah, it's the one you visited too.
That's funny.
Yeah, remember the photo? We brought this up like 2 interviews ago, but the photo of you on the dinosaur with Brooke in your hand.
Oh yes.
Yeah, that was when you
Oh
visited.
yeah.
But
That's classic. That is awesome. I went. That was when one of my other friends came out with me, right?
Mhm.
yeah. I think the door-to-door salesman.
Yeah. Brandon Gansen.
What you doing?
Good kid. Good kid.
Good guy.
Oh yeah, I love him. He's definitely one of my friends that go back the longest from, I think, middle school. Him and I have been buddies since. He's a character. I love hanging out with him. He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
How was your experience of like how like social norms at U of A were? Are they any different from Iowa, like in terms of like college culture? Because I know there's like slight differences between East and West Coast, even in like terminology and
Yeah.
like how you approach each other, whether it be like just being social or like trying to like spit game. It's a little bit different depending on if
No,
you're,
for sure.
because West is a little bit more, I feel like, casual and its own. I don't know. It's just every region has its own quirks, but West is definitely a little bit different. At least I noticed that when I moved here.
Yeah. Well, speaking more of like the school social aspect. I really liked U of A because I think what helped people meet a lot there was being on a closed campus.
Mm-hmm.
Here at Iowa, we're an open campus, so all our stuff is just in downtown of the city, which is very cool. You get a lot of exposure to a lot of different groups. But being on a closed campus in Arizona, there were always, on the Ped Mall, there were already always activities going on, whether it was the farmers market or blow up gym courses or concerts. That I like that aspect down there because, especially as a freshman, you'd go to one of those things and you just see so many other people doing it. Yeah,
Right.
there's activities here, but they don't get the same exposure. Like, not everybody will see a certain sign in front of a building because not everybody passes that way on their way to class.
Right. What I liked about always, one of my favorite parts about becoming friends with you freshman year was you were always extremely optimistic and not in a delusional way, but it was always like make the most of the situation. Where 80% of the student body, at least in my experience, who were dudes in freshman year, were more complaining that they weren't in Greek if they weren't in Greek, And then you weren't,
Right.
but you still had a great time, which was like very rare for, at least from my experience where I was living. A lot of people, and of course, my experience doesn't cover everybody's experience freshman year, but I just felt like a lot of people were upset that they weren't in Greek life because that was such a like a core part of socializing at U of A. I felt like, and you always found a way to make the most of it. So
Yeah, that's another aspect of the social differences between here at Iowa and Arizona I was going to touch on, because we have Greek life here, and there's a decent following for it, but it's not like U of A at all. I did rush. I remember rushing my freshman year just because I heard like, oh, you pretty much have to do this to go out and meet people, and I did notice that after I didn't follow through with it. A lot of people I did know were in the fraternities or sororities, so they had all these new friends, different friend groups, and meeting people while not doing Greek life was, I'd say it was a little more difficult down there, or at least finding more of the party social aspect down there.
Did you ever go to the
But
off-campus parties your freshman year?
yeah, I mean, there were like a few house parties, or I even went downtown a few times to a few of the, different bars or clubs. And that's what we have here in Iowa is a lot of people do the Greek life, the frats and sororities, but our bar scene here is crazy. You can get in at 18 years old. There's a curfew. You got to leave by 10, but fake IDs flow down here like fish in water. You flash a fake ID, you're in. So everybody here just goes to the bars. So that's a big difference, and I like that here. But there's pros and cons to each. Being an underclassman, you're always risking getting busted by the cops, because they do make their rounds. They do have there are freshman bars that they go check out. But yeah, it's two different scenes, pros and cons for each. It just kind of depends on what type of person you are, how outgoing you are, how much you like to party.
Yeah. How insecure you are too. I feel like if you're
Exactly. No, that's a big point for sure.
if you're pretty secure, which I always felt like you were, but like your freshman year, then it really doesn't bug you. It's like I am who I am. But if you're not, then it's like fuck, I don't have friends. I don't know what to do. I don't know back. And then like my parents aren't here anymore, and just like all that anxiety.
Yeah, I definitely had friends, a few roommates even, that they didn't get into whatever frat that they were rushing, and they were just devastated. They're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do anything anymore? I don't know anybody here. What am I going to do? And they found the loopholes, because they were so worried about not being in a frat. They found the loopholes to, get into one, which is props to them for taking the extra steps, because that's what they wanted to do. Definitely some people more insecure than others. I'm not saying you're insecure if you join a frat or sorority, like that's up to you. Like I thought I wanted to do it at first also.
Yeah.
Devin, what you were in a frat, right?
Yeah,
me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You were.
Yeah. But I took I tried to reel Jack in a little bit. I mean, I feel like there's a desire there to do it, but I think both of us were, I think, in similar boats as you, where we wanted to check it out, not like initially invested in doing it, but wanted to check it out, and then like fell on the other side of joining rather than not joining. But
Yeah.
I totally get what you're saying, though. I think there are some kids that it's make or break. It's either I'm a part of this, or I have nothing to do, which kind of sucks. I don't think that's supposed to be the idea of it, but it tends to
What it becomes
happen. Yeah,
for sure.
But yeah, man, what do you think?
I do remember chatting with you, Jack, about while we were freshmen, we're like, yeah, it might be kind of cool to check it out. Like Devin, I like the way you said check it out rather than invest into it, because I feel like people can go in it doing one or the other.
Yeah, true.
So I'm glad that you guys did end up doing it. And what is your overall experience? What do you think?
I think we joined into like we weren't in like established houses when we joined. We were like in kind of startup fraternities, sort of
Sure.
ish, where they'd been around for like 2 years, and then we wanted to be part of. I think we wanted leadership opportunities. I was very like raw self development, and then I ended up just figuring out how to be more sociable, which was what I needed. Honestly, I needed
Yeah.
to chill out and just connect with people that are my peers. So it was a really good experience. Honestly,
Yeah.
learned how to be one of the boys, which took me like a little while. Like the whole lone wolf, do my own thing. Be
Yeah. Yeah.
it was a lot of my time. It's just be angry and grind through shit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think like anything in life, it's what like the intent you go in with it is going to depict like kind of what you get out of it. I remember our discussions before Jack even joined. I was like, it really, depends on what you want to get out of it. There is no right or wrong answer of, oh, should I join a fraternity or and I'm having discussions like this with my little cousin who just graduated up in Washington. She's moving off to college and she wants to rush and everything. She's asking me, she's like, should I do it? I'm like, listen, hon, it's like if that's something first, have an idea of what you want to get out of it. Because if you don't, then not that it would be a waste of time, but then you don't know what you're getting yourself into, and you might end up somewhere you don't want to be, which I've seen with kids that we rushed with that didn't know exactly what they were looking for. They got into a house, it wasn't what they wanted, and they spent the rest of their 4 years kind of not miserable, but not happy with what they were doing.
It's also money
Yeah.
too. It's like a grant. It's depending on what house you're joining.
It's
It could be like
expensive.
2 Gs.
Mm-hmm.
Makes me feel like it is a business at the same time. It is a club.
Yep.
So
And your time while you're at university is like precious is the right word, but it's like you have opportunities at your fingertips to grow and develop, like you're saying. So it's like if you're not using that to its fullest potential, that's going to be the problem with or without Greek.
a big one. It was nice to be in those social groups though, and then it gives you excuses to be social, which I think is why people join it a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not as naturally extroverted. It's like you're at
Yeah.
a group party with a sorority. And your whole job is just to hang out and talk, and that's the whole reason you're there, is to drink alcohol and talk. There's no other point, but it's awesome. But it's great. Honestly, it was some of the best times of undergrad. But
Absolutely.
so that's been cool. How's the DJ going? DJing? You still DJing?
No, not as much. No, I only did
I
that
you
for.
were up at the bars a couple times. They threw you up there. I saw like last summer. You had a couple
Yeah.
times of you playing in front of people.
Yeah, just
Around.
a lot of just goofing around stuff, nothing serious. Never had like one of my own gigs, but if like local what do they call, like town festivals or something, if there's a DJ up there, I'll be go meet them, be friends, be like, yo, you mind if I mix some stuff? And
Oh yeah.
more often than not, they're like, yeah, man, go for it. And so I just love it. I love getting the crowd going. It's just it's a good feeling. It's a good
It is.
feeling.
So do you have like equipment and stuff? Do you like do it
Not
all
anymore.
anymore?
Not anymore. I used to have a keyboard and speakers or whatnot, but I never delved into it as much as I wanted to. Um, I still have the passion for it, and I think that if I ever have the free time to invest into it, I found that I wanted to do it just for fun, but then I was spending a lot more time learning about the different techniques and things that you can do, and then realized, oh man, if I had this other piece of equipment, I could do much more. And during my studies, I had to take a step back and be like, you know what, I gotta focus more on the school stuff rather than this, even though I do enjoy this.
It's that rabbit hole you can slip into it pretty easily.
It is.
Yeah. Do you feel as if it's easier for you to focus on school and being there as opposed to when you were here?
I've got that question a lot, and it's hard to everything's easier to say in retrospect, I guess, but I got a lot of friends here that I know from school. My roommates, a few of them I went to high school with. So it's always like, oh, you're gonna go do this. Well, I should go too. Or you guys want to go do this rather than do this. But it's all about your personality. It's all about you gotta have a fine balance between work, study, personal, social. You have to know how to balance it. I feel like wherever you go to school. When I was in Arizona, I feel like I put my time in at the library, but then I also was social with it. I feel like I here um, spend a lot more time at the library just because your freshman year you're doing mainly undergrad, your gen eds. The stuff isn't as crazy hard, and as sophomore, junior, senior year, I'm getting into those core classes, those upper levels. So it is more of a time investment.
Yeah.
But I don't know if the difference in schools would say altered the attention towards studying or not.
Sure.
I feel like if I was down in Arizona longer, I would like to think I would spend a lot more time outdoors in the mountains. That's why I want to go back there. Just I love the mountains. So I think that's where my balance would be between is outdoors and studying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you feel like your ability to kind of balance those things has gotten better, not so much like the environment.
Yeah, absolutely. Here in Iowa, we got stuff to do, but we got, I can go through a corn maze, maybe. I like fishing. I go fishing every now and then, but it's not like the adventures that Arizona has to offer, especially Tucson. I don't think people realize the beauty that Tucson has.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of people poop on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's super true though. Yeah.
The
It's
dirty tea.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of really good hiking trails, gorgeous, good weather pretty much all year.
Travel
It's pretty hot in the summer.
Hour and a half and you're up in paradise, Go up on Mount Lemon and Catalina's
Speaking of Mount Lemon, hold on.
Yeah,
I don't mean to cut you off, but speaking of Mount Lemon, is it on fire right now?
Yep.
Not Lemon, but
It's not Lemon. It's Catalina's. Yeah.
That's upsetting.
Yeah. Yep.
Sad.
Yeah.
What
house?
Does anybody know how it started or
lightning? Sorry, not thunder. Lightning storm just said it. It was natural. Lightning storm is like in the middle of the night. Lightning touched down and everything was so dry. Just
man, because they're recovering. At least the top of the mountain's recovering from a fire not too long ago, anyways.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think this one's a lot bigger. It said something like 10,000 acres.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It's poor animals, man.
Yeah.
It
really makes you appreciate fucking firefighters, dude. Because if
absolutely,
there wasn't like crazy interventions from them, they said that if that fire would have run its course, it would have been done enough damage to be a national tragedy.
Really?
Wow.
Would have burned through
Would
Tucson.
have been through, yeah.
Terrifying.
They're up there with fucking airplanes dropping this flame retardant lines. It looks like there's like big circles on the top of Mount Lemon right now. You can see them in red, and it's just all the flame retardant.
Yeah, it's crazy the different resources that they have at that level.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, call the jets for dropping some,
Yeah.
It's pretty nice. So, did you know you want to get into the medical field? Is that something that's kind of taken its course, or?
Yeah, I've always been interested in doing something since I can remember. I've broken many bones throughout my life. I've had a lot of accidents, dirt bike crashes. I was in combative sports. I was younger, so I thought the aspect of making somebody feel better was just awesome. And as I got older and had more different views on things, I could look at it from different perspectives. I realized I actually do want to do this. I wasn't really sure what else I wanted to do. I never really thought about anything else. But my studies have changed a few times within. I started out with biology, then I did exercise science for a while, and then I over to human physiology, and that's what I'm currently finishing up my degree in, is human phys.
Right on. Do you know where you want to go from there? What you want to do more specifically?
Just not really. No, I know I wanna go to med school, or at least keep finish out my undergrad with the plan on going to med school. I wanted planning on taking the MCAT. Just got all the stuff to start studying for it. You know,
God bless you.
after that, what's that?
Say God bless you. That'll be fun.
Oh man, I know it's a bit daunting, but after once I see all the books in front of me, I'm like, you know what, I can do this. I just got to put in a little time,
Absolutely.
or a lot of time. When I don't know how to view it.
That's what makes you feel better about it.
Yeah, and working in the emergency room, I'm able to see a lot of different types of doctors. So that actually, gives me more options than I knew was there. I before I thought, okay, a surgeon is a surgeon, but there are so many different types of surgeons. There's so many other doctors in the operating room that are helping out with that stuff that, those are all options too. And not necessarily doctors, but health professionals, different people running different machines. Everybody's important in like a tragedy.
Yeah. Is it cool to see the machine working like that with all the different professionals and all the different equipment, like a well-oiled machine?
It's truly fascinating seeing everybody work together as a team. If somebody, say a car accident, or somebody, something bad, a trauma happens, everything's so fast paced, but everybody's in order. Everybody knows their position, what they got to do. Everybody communicates. It seems hectic while you're in there, but everybody's got the same mindset. Get the patient stabilized. So it's cool. It's cool seeing everybody do their different part, working as one person. One team.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like you said, kind of, I forgot how you worded it, I'm sorry, but the idea that like looking back, it's easier to see things looking back. Would you say you would have done, if you had the same goal in mind, would you have done at least stuff academically different to if you like had the same goal of going on to medical school, or do you think you did it fairly well?
I retrospect, I think is the word you might have been looking for.
Yeah.
As I go into my last year of undergrad, I think, looking back, I did spend a lot of time in the library studying. I didn't go out, and socialize, party as much as some of my friends. But I'm in, relatively good academic standing right now that puts me in the run for what my goal has been, is getting into med school. So I feel like I'm on whatever I have done has gotten me to where I've wanted to be. So it's hard to say I'd change anything. I'd like to say I wish I was more social. I wish I went out with my friends a lot more, especially as they're all leaving now. They're all graduated. They all got the jobs. We didn't really realize that 4 years comes to an end real quick. Everybody says, "Oh, college goes by quick." I still tell friends about stories when I was in Arizona like it was yesterday. It really does go quick. So if I give anybody advice, I'd just be like, I'd say, don't be too hard on yourself, but definitely maintain a balance.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's different for everybody too.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but it seems like you kind of consciously chose to make those sacrifices, though. Like that balance works for you. It did work for you. Maybe if you would have gone out,
Right.
you would have maybe not have been in good standing for medical school, which is a deeper goal that you have.
Right. And I did have, I'll vouch. I mean, what for me, like you said, it worked when I did have one semester here where I did go out a lot more. I didn't study as much for my classes, and it definitely showed academic wise. And I was able to see that for the next semester. And I was like, okay, I gotta study a little more. I can't be going out, you know, 3 times a week every single week.
Mhm.
It's not sustainable for me, at least.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how's the riots been in your neck of the woods? 'cause it's been very it's bizarre time. There's a lot going on.
Yeah,
I saw you on
it's
the story that you were kind of walking around and seeing the police enforce quarantine rule, or not quarantine, I'm sorry, just
curfew.
curfew rules. Yeah.
Yeah, it was I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I was walking downtown to play pool with a friend, and just a block off of my crib there was, had to be 20, 30 squad cars, all the police officers getting in their riot gear, I guess they call it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what the heck is going on? Like, I didn't know sirens or nothing were going off, so I was just so confused. And as I made my way past him, was trying to like ask them like, oh, what's going on? I didn't know there was riots. I heard rumors and whatnot, but I didn't know that it was actually going to happen. And a few of the police officers were, kind of arrogant about it. Like, they're like, oh, get home now. You can't go downtown. You're going to go to jail. What, yada, yada. And I was like, okay, well, I'm still going to go downtown, going to go play pool. I'm not going to, interact with this crowd. Asked a few more people on my way, a few more police officers, and they explained, like, we're just getting ready. Nothing crazy has happened, but, we're just being like general precaution. And it was, that made me feel better as I made my way downtown. But once I got downtown, it was, everything was graffitied or tagged, as they say. There was spray paint everywhere, and it was eerily quiet, more quiet than it should have been on a, what was it, a Wednesday or a Tuesday night downtown. So it was spooky for sure. And I just going through the main area, the pedestrian mall is what they call it, where all the bars are and clubs, and everything was shut down, spray paint everywhere. There was a few people doing the same thing I was doing, just walking around, taking videos on their phones. And it was it was eerie, I think is the good word to say, because it wasn't expected. I didn't know that had already happened before I had gotten down there. But aside from that, I don't think anything really bad or wild happened. Like, I don't think we had too much looting or breaking into businesses. At the local Walmart, I think one of the nights there was, or and a Target, but nothing to the extreme that I know of. Just, yeah, I'm also not partaking in anything, whatnot, just trying to be safe on my own part.
Mhm. Yeah. Go for it. Sorry.
No, just saying, it's pretty crazy we live in a police. Well, not that we haven't lived in a police state before, but how much is being enforced now?
Yeah.
I think that's a necessary reaction.
I don't know. I
Well, what about Tucson? Have you guys had any riots in Tucson, or protests at least?
Someone broke into something downtown.
Yeah, minimal, but it's been the same response: curfew and police enforcement, which just seems excessive. I don't know. I mean, I understand in some cities it's like protecting its people, but Tucson, I don't know why we had a curfew. I don't get it. It just seems like I don't know. Feels like rights are being taken away that shouldn't be. But
Yeah. I guess for here in Iowa City, I wouldn't say I wouldn't call them riots, because there's nothing. I mean, I don't really know what the definition of riot would be, but these people are protesting is what I see. Yeah, they're vandalizing stuff, destruction of property, but it's nothing like I've seen. I hate to say quoting stuff from the mainstream media, but up in Minneapolis, for say, like with those first few days, like nothing like that's happening here. All these kids that are protesting here are college age students. They're just fighting for a change.
Yeah. Seems like that's where it gets people upset, because people are protesting, which is a right of theirs, and then you don't know which side is enacting the rioting, because it might be the police, or there's some shithead police officer, which I don't mean that. I'm not bad every types of people.
Correct.
Some dude might just pepper spray a girl in the face because she's getting emotional. and that just makes it even worse. Or maybe it goes the other way, and I don't know enough about this to really speak like an authority, but
It's fair to say there's shitheads in every profession, though. It's like I don't think we should, it
Yeah.
shouldn't be outlandish to say that there are some police that are fucking terrible at their job, and they probably shouldn't be police.
But then you have protesters that maybe are just very upset and angry over everything that's happened over the past 60 years, and then they maybe swing at a police officer, and it's like, oh well, then the riot breaks out. But then you want to say maybe the police should react differently to the scenario, not beat them with clubs, But
Yeah, I can see what you're saying.
I don't mean this in like I'm 22.
No,
I don't know a lot about this, but like at least we're experiencing it, and it's like there just needs to be different ways of dealing with it. And then there's like a deep, deep pain for Black Americans that usually is ignored. Just considering segregation laws were just dismissed in like 1967. So the pain, I mean, the wound's still there, and then I just moved on. But
yeah, just speaking. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
you didn't. You're fine.
Just speaking off of different Snapchats that I've seen from people that I have on my feed during this stuff. The first night or two, things were a little blown out of proportion, I believe. But still, you got these protesters that are in the faces of these police officers, just slandering them, calling them names and stuff. It's like, to what extent? Like, and you're gonna get upset that they pushed you back, not letting you pass a certain point. They don't want you on. We had for a few nights protesters running onto the interstate. That you can't. You got fully loaded semi trucks. 80 miles an hour. They can't stop on a dime. They can't see one person in the middle of the road.
Right.
Let alone there's a group. So you guys. I don't know. I see people pushing their limits and then being upset that the police didn't back down to them.
Yeah, I think there's just a lot of chaos at companies. I'm using silver dollar words, but a lot of chaos at companies, the catharsis. So like everyone's freaking out for good reason, and they're just sad and angry, and then a bunch of just chaotic shit that makes no sense sometimes accompanies it. So people running on crowded interstates in support of the cause, which it kind of could be associated with it, but it's not making anything sustainable. Just someone gets hit by a semi truck at midnight, and that if it was midnight, and
exactly.
And it kind of gets silly is a cute word for it, but it's a lot more intense than that. But it
absolutely
kind of retarded.
Yeah,
it seems like some of the reactions can potentially be counterintuitive to what the movement's trying to do, to where I think we all can understand where some of the hurt is coming from, but some of the reactions and what people want to call rioting isn't going to necessarily, I don't think, like sustainably in the long run help anything out, which kind of sucks because you want to see actual change come about this now that we have it on a national discussion level.
Radar. But it seems like it's more of a emotional problem than a rational one. It is a rational one, but what we're experiencing right now is
the emotional part.
Yeah, and then what's happening right now is an emotional problem from the emotional part. We're not really equipped to deal with that as well. At least right now with where we are at our level of consciousness, And it just feels like that tribe monkey mentality where it's like the cop tribe versus the human rights tribe, and like that doesn't really work because we're the same thing. But it's like you beat one of our own. And it's like even if that's the cops, so like you beat up one of our own, and it's like, well, not you specifically, but your tribe has killed like 10 of our people in the past 5 years, less than that probably the last couple months, but it just creates that back and forth, which probably served us at different times in our evolutionary history, but not so much right now.
Have you had any interesting interactions with law enforcement out in Iowa?
No, not recently. Besides the that one night down here, but in the past I haven't either. I try to be a good kid. I a few times, I've definitely tried to provoke them in the past. Just trying to be goofy or silly. But no, I've never had any odd experiences or overwhelming, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I did have. I had kind of an odd experience. I got pulled over one night after driving my buddies and dropping them off to the bar, and I had a tail light out, I guess, and I ended up having to do a field sobriety test and everything, and I was nervous as a sober person
Yeah.
because they did make me feel like they kept like interrogating me like, why is this and this. I had 4 people in my car. I was driving them down to the bars. They were drinking. They had their bottles in my car. So when they got out, when the police pulled me over, they were still all in my car, so they saw him get out and everything. But still, he still was badgering me about it. He's like, your car reeks of alcohol and stuff. I was like, listen, you just saw my people come out.
Yeah.
But I had to do this test, and I was like, wow, man, you're really, you're not being aggressive about it, but I don't have the best hips. How I got a hip replacement and everything, and they're having me like bend down on one leg and put one leg out, and I was trying to let them know before, and I was like, hey, just so you know, I don't have good balance on either my knees are bad, whatnot. They're like, oh, you giving us excuses for blah blah blah. I was like, no, I'm not. I'm just letting you know beforehand, whatever. And ended up doing everything fine. And after I did everything fine, they're like, okay, we're gonna breathalyze you now. And I was like, why? But okay, I'm not gonna deny it. I just want to leave. So
And it's just
ended
started
up,
maybe, to be honest.
what's that?
Just started with the breathalyzer with you in that case anyway. You actually like didn't drink.
Right. No, I hadn't, and I was just so confused at first. He asked me to step out of the car, and I was like, oh, am I getting arrested right now? I didn't even know I was gonna do anything. And he goes, all right, I'm gonna have you stand on this line and do this. I was like, am I doing a sobriety test? And he's like, yeah, you are. And I was like, are you serious? He goes, yes, I'm serious, and I'll get to it. And I was like, oh, geez. I was more startled, if anything. Downtown, everybody's passing by, taking videos of you, and
It's embarrassing.
you just
And
more just, yeah, go ahead.
sorry. There you go.
I was just gonna say it's more of like just being spooked.
Yeah.
And I think that I did think the officer, he deals with that all the time, drunk driving, and I think that should be enforced.
Yeah.
So I don't know how other people act when they do that, but I did feel like it was a bit over the top that time.
Yeah.
Just for me as a sober person,
Yeah. Funny part is that, and I can speak for Arizona's laws, but I'm pretty sure it's the same across the country. Field sobriety tests they don't prove anything. They're literally just a way to preemptively try and get you to admit that you've been drinking. You can't use it in court. They literally cannot use it in court. So it's just a way to like really aggravate you, and eventually a lot of people be like, I couldn't do this if I was sober, and then boom, that's an admittance of drinking, right?
Sure.
Yeah, so the breathalyzer you can't refuse. You can refuse a field sobriety test. A lot of people won't because, like you said, you're just kind of startled and you're going to do what the police says. But if you do go through with it, and even if it's due to something else, like if you were to kind of stumble a little bit, even if it's due to your hips, if you had even 0.1% alcohol in your blood, they can use that as a like impaired to the slightest degree and charge you with a but you don't have to do the field sobriety test.
Oh, I did not know that. That's interesting though. And you said that you can't deny a breathalyzer. I believe you can deny a breathalyzer, but they'll take you down to the station and whatnot. I don't know if they do an additional test, blood work or whatnot, but yeah, that's interesting to know. No, being in that situation, I hope it never does happen again, but I will definitely let them know, like, I'm not doing this, and I will fight it just because I knew I was doing nothing wrong. But definitely being startled and being like, okay, even if I do stumble a little bit, I don't have good balance in general, but didn't want them to push it any further.
Yep. And like, I mean, obviously, if you want the best outcome, be respectful. Be like, I respectfully decline to do the field sobriety test because of blah blah blah. But I would like for you to breathalyze me because I haven't been drinking, and that'll expedite the whole process.
If That's nice. Oh, it took a bit of time too. It was lengthy.
Yeah. They just want to draw it out and hopefully get you. You know,
Hmm.
it's sad. It is.
They do blood. Can they tell if you were drinking 2 hours ago?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
That's
It's much more
freaky.
accurate than breathalyzers. Blood tests are
That's
much more
freaky.
accurate. Yep. And a lot.
And also, go ahead.
I was gonna say a lot of cops in Arizona are trained in phlebotomy now. So if you say no to the breathalyzer, they'll pop you right there on the scene.
Oh, nice. I was going to say if they do a blood test, I don't know if breathalyzer pick up any other drugs yet. I know there are studies going on or whatnot, but a blood test is going to say if you've done any other recreational or illegal substance.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yep. Which you
Like-
could
like-
potentially
like-
even prescription drugs you can get DUIs for.
And even in like the past 2 weeks, probably, right? Because you probably still have marijuana. Do you still have weed in your blood? If you smoked it like a week ago?
Yeah. Oh yeah. People like that haven't even smoked for a week or so will still get DUIs because they have it in their blood. So like, well, yeah, no shit.
Bullshit.
Even if they have the card, like the laws are so behind the times. It's incredible. You know.
I definitely think they can trace like the amount that's in there, and I think it'll vary from each person to person, whether you're a heavy smoker, whether you've done it once recently or in the past. So I don't really know how that is, but they can definitely. I know that certain drugs definitely stay in your system longer than others.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised weed's one of the ones that sticks around for a while, is what I've heard. Weed sticks in
Yeah.
for a little bit.
Depends on how.
Coke's like 2 days, I think, or a
Yeah.
day.
Like I said, it really for smoking at least. It depends on how heavy a smoker you are. If you don't smoke for a year, you smoke once, it's probably gonna be out of your system in like 3-4 days. Realistically, people don't want to tell you that, but that's what like research shows. But if you're somebody who smokes like heavy, then it's gonna take you like 3 weeks to a month, if not more, to get it out of your system because it gets stored in your fat cells.
I think it could even be 2 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it gets in your hair too.
Mm-hmm.
Hair tests, I do know are more lengthy. You know, you can track drugs through a hair test for a lot longer period of time.
That's what like the military and that like any government agency does, hair tests.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Freaky deaky.
Drugs, man, drugs.
Fucking drugs.
No, weird. Like your hair is kind of like a timeline of your life then.
Yeah.
And at least in that regard, it's like, oh, like I don't
Do
do
you
it.
think it's weird that we decide what jobs people can and cannot do based off of the drugs they consume with their body?
Yeah.
Just saying. Maybe though.
Yeah,
I'm just being a libertarian. I might just be being a libertarian. But
Probably.
I think that, you know, I think certain jobs definitely need different precautions.
Mm.
You know, I don't think working a retail job, you know, I think they're definitely looking out more on the, not for the person aspect, but more on the liability of the company. Say something were to happen while the person was on the job, happened to be under the influence of something, you know, that's not only on the employee themselves, but also the company for not heavily enforcing it.
Yeah. Right. And I think my dad was a recruiter for the military, for the Marines, and he always told me that it wasn't so much like, because they would disqualify people if they've used X drug X many times for certain jobs. He said it wasn't so much because it impairs your, if you've done it in the past, it doesn't impair your ability to do the job. But he said more so, it's supposed to, and I don't necessarily agree with this, but it's supposed to speak to your moral character, how many substances you've used in the past.
I don't know. I mean,
I don't agree with that.
Plenty of shitheads that do no drugs.
And there's
plenty of
plenty
assholes that don't
great
do drugs.
people that have done drugs in the past, you know.
Yeah. I don't buy that one. But
No, but it's better than, I mean,
I guess if you're recruiting high school kids, but still at the same point, it's like,
if you're a high school kid and have done like every drug in the book, there might be something going on. Maybe not be your fault, but something's going on in your life.
yeah.
Just very curious, man. Just very curious.
Yeah.
I'm just experimental, man.
As long as you're not doing like heroin or something, I feel like you're pretty much okay.
Well, trip, man. Heroin, like there's drugs that people get prescribed every day that aren't too much different from heroin.
What, like benzos? No. I don't know.
No, more the opioids. More the opioids.
Yeah, yeah.
Oops.
But same effect. I think they're similar effects.
Got that wrong.
There's similar effects, but opiate, that's literally what, you know, heroin's derived from the opiate plant, and so are those medications. They're just a little bit more lab created. Heroin's like kind of essentially more natural, right? I mean,
Heroin.
Well,
Yeah.
sorry.
Go
Is
ahead.
crack pretty much just cocaine you smoke mixed with some stuff?
Crack.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
cocaine
You know,
concentrated, and then you smoke it.
it's definitely. I think it's cut with other things. I'm not. I don't know too much about street drugs personally, but
meth is straight out of a lab. Like if we want to get into
yeah.
conspiracy theories, I think meth was like dropped into the population to fuck them up, kind of. I don't know how or why that would
I think
happen,
yeah.
but I don't know how else somebody like put certain chemicals together. Like, yeah, shit's good. Try it.
Yeah. Try this, bro.
It's easy and it's cheap. Is from the docs that I've watched, for the most part.
Yeah. Cheap, and it gets you incredibly high. People say it's like the best high they felt in their life, you know, and it's like,
And it gives you energy for days, I guess.
I'm productive as shit. I don't want to stop doing things. Like, this is fantastic.
Well, shit, that don't actually sound too bad then, huh?
Yeah, right. I think that's what they used for the military though in World War II.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was Russia or something. They did it to their troops.
Damn.
So they were all methed out and they just walked through like an icy tundra.
Yeah, I think I've heard that. I've heard that.
Yeah.
And it was like that's what it was designed for. So you are right. It was designed as like military superhuman serum.
Yeah.
Which it technically is. I mean, you're not gonna have a good life and you'd be addicted to shit, but you're pretty effective in the short term and more.
Germany could have won if they just gave them some meth so they could have walked through that Siberian winter. They might have won the fucking war, dude.
You might have lost about half of them, but half would have made it. Frostbitten toes and all. Yeah, sick.
Fuck crazy, man. Yeah, and like that's where LSD essentially got, in a way, got introduced to the population, was through MK Ultra. That was like a military funded experiment where they're trying to see like how soldiers react, to see if they can like make them into super soldiers. And then one of those people ended up being an extreme advocate for LSD and then spreading it like across the United States. But it essentially started from the government.
LSD is a crazy drug for sure.
It is.
I'm glad that there's been more people have been open about talking about their experiences, their positive and negative experiences on it, because just based off of what I've read, the literature and videos I've watched, you got to take everything with a grain of salt. Everybody's going to react different, but the positive benefit that psychedelics have for some people is it's actually very good. It's very therapeutic for some.
It was supposed to be psychiatry's miracle drug for a good decade, from like 60s to 70s.
Like
I think it did.
On it,
and like regular dosing, just in a therapeutic setting. And they were slowly transitioning into research about microdosing, but then it got banded together with the counterculture and then outlawed because of that.
Damn.
Yeah.
I think there's just such a social stigma against certain drugs, certain psychedelics in particular, that it drives people away just because they don't have the knowledge about it.
They're afraid of it.
Yeah.
I thought LSD was made by the bike guy. Happy Bicycle Day.
Yeah. All this. Fuck, forgot his name. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In a lab, he was created in a lab, and then it was started to be researched by psychiatrists, and the government figured out that it was through this guy Al Hubbard. He was kind of like the military guy, but also worked with psychiatrists, and he introduced it to government officials, and then they started experimenting with it in their own time, like the FBI and shit, and then it kind of leaked out into the public.
Learning the history about history is crazy. I think everything that's come to be, whether it's in the mainstream media or not, it's got a story behind it, and that, I think that's pretty fascinating, whether it's drugs or different service per se, or different inventions and innovations.
Yeah. And like history actually, played out as a lot fucking crazier than I think what we get in history books. I feel like that's the Manila version
Yeah.
of what actually happened.
Yeah, it usually is.
Yeah, I don't know how, other countries give history lessons or whatnot, but one of my friends had a foreign exchange student in high school from Germany, and he said that he didn't really understand what the Holocaust was until he came to America and learned about it.
What?
I don't know what sort of school he went to, if it was different or if he had a different growing growing up with his parents. I don't know if that's why it didn't get brought up, but the way that I was under the impression is that he didn't, like, in school it wasn't really touched on. Like, they didn't learn a whole lot about it. But this was back in high school, so through grade school, middle school, and whatever years in high school, it wasn't really touched on. Whereas I feel we learned about the Holocaust, at least in my part of my school, is like, it's relatively young.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. Imagine being the first person to break that to that kid. Like, hey man, your country did some fuck shit back in not too long ago, about half a century ago.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy how, earlier we were saying that, the stuff back then didn't evolve as quick as it does nowadays, but looking back just at a significant date like that, it was not that long ago.
Mm-hmm. Our grandparents.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really not that long. That's not long at all, actually.
Yeah, my great grandpa, he served in World War II.
Really?
Really? Wow.
So my grandpa, not my grandpa, but my great uncle did.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? Like, I feel like, I don't know. Like, the motivation to join the military has kind of declined because of the population's not mistrust in the military, but maybe some of its motives. Imagine being around back when Nazis around. Like, I'd be full tilt. Like, yeah, let's go fucking
Kill
do
some
something.
Nazis.
Yeah.
I'd be down to kill Nazis. Even though they're people too, though.
This is true, man. And it's like
could have been us.
Could have, yeah, and
a weird thing to think about that, you say it's another person. It's, what in their country, what are they being told about us? Why do they not like us? What are we doing that they don't like? We're getting told why we don't like them, but why are they trying to fight us? Are they just defending themselves against us because we're going over there? Or, I'm sure other countries are just throwing major shade at us too.
Yeah, just calling us barbarians and idiots.
Yeah.
Ruining the whole order of everything.
There's got to be a reason, or else they wouldn't march against us.
They were so young, though. Some of the Nazis, they were 14.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they would just take them out of they'd go to like a camp, at least as far as I know.
And then it was weird. If you like reading the history about History Egg, there's a lot on that, like the weird shit that went on. But they would take them to like summer camps, essentially, indoctrinate them in Hitler Youth, and then they would bang some girls at like 13, 14, and then they'd have to get them pregnant to like get like Hitler superior genes forward, and then those kids would go off to war if they needed them. And they were like 14, 15, and there was like other age Nazis too, like above 18, standard military. They'd be like 14-year-olds sometimes. And they just
think about a 14-year-old going to war right now. Like, do you know any 14? How old is that? That's middle school, right?
Yeah, it's right out. It's like 8th grade, freshman year.
Yeah, maybe freshman.
Wow.
Yeah.
When I was in middle school, I was fat.
Yeah, me too. Yep. I was gang.
I was
I was uncoordinated. Going to war, man.
Here's a rifle kid. Like, good luck.
Yeah. It's just
mostly
a way of life.
Yeah. But they're so brainwashed. I mean, in that, I mean.
But imagine the girl of your dreams at like 14, and you just like. This is weird to talk about, but like you just banged her, and she's a girl of your dreams, and now you're gonna be the hero of the story for the nation. Like you might be kind of pumped up at that point.
Yeah.
And then she's not. She's gonna have your kid. It's like sweet. Like world turned out different, but like I'm living Naruto right now. Kinda.
That's crazy. That's crazy to think. Yeah, putting yourself in that perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can easily lie to a 14, 15-year-old kid. They don't have to know about the internment camps, the labor camp.
No, there's no way they were getting all that information.
Until they're deep in the shits, and then they would work there, and then they're part of it, so they don't want to, sounds like we're justifying Nazis. That's not.
No, I mean, it's part of everybody, though, man.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
it's not like they didn't pop out of nowhere. It's part of us.
Yeah.
People don't like thinking of that, though. Like
Yeah.
The Nazis.
We're the same species,
Same consciousness.
Yep.
Just a toxic element of it.
You guys
just voted, like, Trump is far from Hitler, but, like, that dude was, like, feeding everybody's insecurities about everything and
Yeah,
the
fear
economy.
mongering, same
like,
shit that Hitler runs on,
Yeah, but, like, there is a jump there. There's a pretty big jump, but,
Mhm.
I mean, Hitler was giving the people something they wanted to hear,
Yeah.
Not
Trump is
justifying
too.
what he did, but he was like, "I'm going to bring the economy back." Everyone's been shitting on Germany for 30 years, which
Yep.
we were. Just kind
Yeah.
of beating the stick over their head. being
Make
like,
Germany great again.
Yeah. See, I didn't put it that far, but essentially, MAGA.
What were you saying, Ike?
Germany great.
Jack was like, it's we're the same species and everything. You guys think there's been talk before from other more influential people, but do you think there's a new species among us right now?
Aliens. Yeah, no, I think so.
Maybe. Do you think there's like someone hiding as human who's not human? Is that what you're saying?
No, not really that, but back, we don't know until there's a new species, until like we're still discovering new species of humans per se that we didn't know about before. It's like these people lived in the same time periods, but there's a little different time period. They've got different characteristics that set them apart from this group of people. Do you think that's among us right now, whether it's different, because there's people out there that are crazy smart. Yeah, there's genes that play into different into it, but there's, you kind of understand what I'm saying. You like
different like subspecies. Yeah.
Well, we got some humans who are some like brilliant genius humans that are a different race.
Or opposite, Cajuns. Cajuns are completely different people than the rest of us.
Power culture.
Yeah, I would think so. I don't know who, what group it would be, but I think, it's different species within humans,
Maybe not. I'm not sure if I buy that one.
Well, like, okay, so okay,
like all relative.
Just like so we're Homo sapiens, right? There's how many different other homos are there besides you two?
You got us. Very good.
But you know what I'm saying? Like there's got to be, how long ago did Homo sapien be, recognized different from whatever other Homo was before us?
It was damn near like 600,000 years ago, if not more.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, but
Homo sapiens were established?
it was a while ago, though, right? It was pretty big. I mean, we haven't been on the planet very long, but it was a pretty big chunk.
Right. So before just think before that, how long was that species there for?
Yeah.
If we've been here for 600,000 years, you don't think, that's a long time to evolve. I know evolution takes, hundreds of thousands of years, but there's got to be something in the making right now.
Yeah. Have you seen people saying we might be turning into the like little humans from Up, or not Up, shit. Yeah. Hold on. I'm resolving this. The little cube thing, Wally. Little Wally humans. We have our little chairs, and then we're gonna have big eyes.
See, I'm not sure if I'm up to date with that movie.
Wally.
Yeah, I know what the concept. I know what the concept is, but I don't know what you're talking about.
I've not seen Wall all the way through, so I don't know. Shock about either.
Isn't he a little robot or something?
Yeah. Can you see my screen?
No.
Okay.
some water.
If I can figure this out, I can figure this out. Actually, so do you see this?
Hold on, I just lost where I was at. There we go. No, don't see. Nope.
Okay.
Devin's gone. Did
Yeah,
you make him disappear? Is that what happened?
magic trick? Um, no, but like the up humans, the ones that are, I don't know, I'll show you. Wally, it's Wally human.
Wally humans? Should I just look it up?
It might be a little bit more efficient at this point.
Wally
Whoa.
humans.
There's some
It's been searched before. Just like morbidly obese. Is that what you're talking about?
But it's different though, because then they have like these little chairs, and they like float around everywhere, and there's this huge supermarket, and the whole environment's fucked up.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I can see where you're going. Where you were going with that, at least.
People can like hypothesize that we'll get like big eyes because we're on screen so much, and like smaller foreheads.
That's funny, yeah.
Yeah.
But it did say Homo sapiens were so far the earliest finds of modern Homo sapiens date nearly 200,000 years ago.
Yeah, okay, that sounds about right. But think about how long did it take for us to jump from whatever we were before Homo sapiens to Homo sapien, though?
Yeah.
Well, there's different subspecies of Homo sapien now. There's like Neanderthal. There's da da da.
I don't think
Neanderthal's
that's a
the only one we know.
subspecies of Homo, though. Homo sapien.
I think so.
I think it's a branch off.
No, man, there's just so much information, we can't.
I don't know.
We need a bigger background. We need an anthropology major right here to talk.
Yeah, athletic. Oh, that's some Homo sapien right there.
Yeah.
Pretty fucking revolutionary walking, being a bipedal.
Yeah. I always think, we started walking up like that, so I think we could see over tall grass. I think so. That's one.
Yeah, I think that's one of the theories, or I don't know if it's been proven or whatnot, but
Think about that. All your organs are right there just for someone to rip at. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Stomach's out there, so we could just jab at it. Every other animal's on 4 legs, so it's like their shoulders and their back and a bunch of other shit cover up all their vital organs. And we just walk around like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
I actually have a close friend who she studies, or she studied for a while biological anthropology. I think she might have switched throughout her college career, but when she would tell me about this stuff that she was learning about, it was pretty crazy learning like why they think these people evolved from this to this to this, and I find that fascinating. Absolutely.
Yeah, how exactly it happens. It's out of necessity.
Yeah.
You may ask the question, are we going to evolve anymore? Because we've kind of altered. Obviously, we will at some level, but physically, will we anymore? Because it's not a necessity as much anymore. Or maybe our bodies will get weaker because we don't need them.
Well, but why do you think it's not a necessity? What do you think we're like max? This is our fullest potential right here.
No, I just think that maybe there's not as much stressor to, I don't know, because it seems to be the driving force of evolution is like mass amounts of deaths of the species that couldn't survive, and then what can passes on. Whereas like we're not really
Okay.
species as much. If anything, we're living more, which is cool, but it's like a different type of evolution.
Yeah, I think we got such, influential technological advancements that, we maybe perhaps don't need to physically adapt as much as we used to need to.
Yeah, but like our whole mentality about the environment that was worded weird. Our whole mentality about our interaction with the world shifting a lot, though, and that might be the next evolution. It's more cognitive and spiritual, where it's like, how do we interact with our environment now and stuff like that, like as opposed to just how do we survive.
Sure. Yeah.
Or evolution is just something we made up to explain.
Fucking postmodernists.
No, put a different way, to explain the simulation.
Yeah, but what do you mean by that, though?
that didn't,
Mr. Co-host.
we
Thinking about that.
we didn't really evolve. We're just in a simulation, and that's, I mean, it's close enough. It makes enough sense so that we don't think too much about it, but we're actually in a simulation. Just
It still happen.
Like what kind of
Simulation though? Like we are in a simulation, in my opinion.
yeah.
But share the tea here. This isn't real.
what do you know? What do you know?
Oh
I
shit.
found out. But no, but like if you think about every vision is an illusion. Seeing something's an illusion.
Mhm.
Like this is also a bunch of matter and molecules mashed together, but we see colors and all that, but it's different than what another animal sees. So there might be like our conscious reality is simulated,
Mhm.
though it may be mapping onto something that's more deeply real. But because that's the whole point of like, yeah, buddy, let your brain go. But like that's why magic fucks with you.
Yeah.
Is because it's playing with your perception.
Mhm.
So if you're saying reality is perception, then of course it's an illusion.
Well, yeah. Ike, what do you think?
Man, it feels like I need more coffee
Yeah.
to wrap my mind around this. And I definitely think, I think it's a good mindset to think like that, to realize like what everything is around us is made up of. The same things that makes up this coffee mug, more or less is what makes up you and I. Like Jack said, it's just matter. Little molecules of carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, just all strung together. That's it. And the fact that we see this as that it's not moving, is even more crazy, that we're not able to pick up on this tiny vibrations that it's doing and everything. I think it's a good mindset to have, to be at least conscious about, I don't know, how gifted whatever's going on,
Makes
how
makes life not mundane. That's for sure. It kind of makes
yeah. I mean, I don't know what that word really means, but
I
it
think-
sounds official.
Or it makes life not boring, because you see things and you're like, oh, there's a lot more going on than I ever. Like, sometimes life gets routine and boring, and you realize, oh,
Yeah.
there's like 80 things going on inside of my body right now that I just don't even know about. But you could say that's what meditation's for. It's to like recognize those things and just be here, as opposed
Right.
to so obsessed with the illusion. Not to say that the illusion's not fun though. It's a simulation. It's fun to be in the simulation. It's fun to feel
Oh, yeah.
in the simulation. Do different things. Fall in love. Connect. Different wavelengths, man. It's deeper. It's vibrations and energy.
But last night I was watching Subtronic set, and he had this visual where it cuts, and for like 2 or 3 seconds it says,
This is
"You're in a
real.
simulation," and then
Yeah.
the next 3 seconds it's like, "You are dead." And I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I mean,
Who's to say?
I think
What was that? What if that was a way for someone that's outside the simulation to try and let us know this is real?
Well, you can say, well, he's an artist, so people are always playing with what we don't understand. So that could be him expressing something deep and poetic. And not saying that's not real. Poetry is one of the most real things spiritually, but he's saying like this is now kind of an illusion in his art. But I think sometimes how our heads wrap around problems nowadays. We're like, where is the key maker? And are we in the matrix? It's like, and to say that's a bad thing too. Maybe it's like when you did shrooms, it was kind of like the world's a lot more deep and complex than I ever thought. And that was taking layers off of the simulation, you could say, whatever that is.
Yeah.
And maybe the simulations, your simulated reality with your perception. So it was like taking layers off and be like, holy shit, Luna doesn't have eyebrows. His dog busts its eyebrows. And he's like, holy shit, her hair vibrates. It's crazy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, man. But you gotta like dig through and like get to those deeper wavelengths, man.
Gotta get deeper. I think
So bottom line is Jack did shrooms before we started this conversation.
actually currently
Yeah.
both of us.
Yeah, you look awesome, bro. I love
Oh my
you.
god, my hands.
I love you, bro.
That'd be an interesting 6-hour podcast of just one long trip.
Yeah, and half of it's just me staring at the screen. Just like, I saw a dude tripping actually at the library once. U of A library.
Are you sure you're tripping?
He was can't confirm, but I mean, I didn't come up with him. He had his hand like this, and he was watching a video, and it was like kind of like festival visuals, but it was like pulsating, and then it would have a message every once in a while, and it would kind of pulsate, and he had earphones on, and he was just like this for like 20 minutes, like shaking, like he was like nutting. I was like, damn, he's having a good time. But I was like,
Jesus.
a part of me was like, right on.
Jealous.
He looked kind of homeless though, but he was just doing this for a while, and I'd be like, insert this too, and I'd be like moving forward, and it would show like a body and like the Peruvian man, and he was like going around, and it's like blue and pixelating.
Jesus.
He was kind of like roll back, and I'd be like tripping balls, of all places.
Yo,
That's some self.
you know, a good, I think a fun vlog to like stem off of this would be to have one of those experiences and actually vlog it, you know, but without getting caught up in it in the vlog. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like it to try to capture your thoughts, but you know, only to show what you're thinking at the time, not to like really think about the video itself.
Yeah.
But, you know, after the fact, because you can always remember like, oh wow, that was crazy. I thought like this, and this, but it's not going to be in the same, you know, perception that you were in when you were in that state.
Yeah,
So maybe that
power.
Be cool. It's like
Yeah.
a new age psychonaut. Somebody like back in the day, people would get really good at having these psychedelic trips and then recounting them via writing. But that'd be like a really cool spin on like a new age psychonaut, because it's like that's the main thing you'll hear from somebody who trips, and they're like, oh, what was it like? Like I can't describe it. And I think you're right.
Yeah.
Nuance when you're looking back on it, because it's just like, how do you describe it? If it's not, I guess it's outside of our realm of consciousness, so it's hard to describe, you know.
Yeah, and I think a classic one, like a classic description that people give is just like, you know, colors are more vibrant, and people are like, oh, cool, like lighter and darker colors. But it's, you know, it's more. I think it's more than just vibrant colors.
Yeah.
For some of the different psychedelics, or you know, music felt a different way for you. You can't really describe. Oh, I felt good listening to that. So you're not feeling good. It's
Completely, entirely, it's a different thing. Like you see different shades of color, which you can't really comprehend without having experienced it, you know.
right.
It's fucking crazy.
It is.
Mm.
I haven't done it yet, actually. I've not done psychedelics. Want to?
They're crazy. They're crazy. From what I hear, at my freshman year, my roommates, actually, they both did them at the same time. They did shrooms, and I trip sitted them, and I drove them up to Mount Lemon while they were tripping on shrooms, and
That's awesome.
you know, it was cool just watching them, you know, hearing what they were talking about, but it was also like, you know, they're having normal conversations with me at the same time. It's not like they're all whacked out or anything. They're, you know, one of the kids, he was, you know, he hugged a rock. He laid on a rock and just hugged it for a long time. And he goes, man, dude, it's just something about this right here. Just, it feels like I should do this. And it was like, you know, that's kind of cool. It's
Oh, sorry, you cut the last part out. We couldn't
He
hear the
talks
last
in
part.
super speed. It was freaky.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, I'm not sure. Like, I don't know what the last part was, but
Last sentence.
What's that?
Like the last sentence.
Okay, let me reverse my mind real quick. I was just saying that it was, you know, it was cool seeing that he was able to have that, you know, feel so in touch with a rock. And, you know, yeah, you can go into I feel like if you go into nature by yourself or like with a group of friends, like sound mind, you gain a different perception. You feel like, wow, I feel good out here. Like I feel natural out here. But to feel like such a great, I don't know, a presence or something when he was hugging that rock, just the way he was just like, man, I don't even know what this is, but this, I should be doing this. It's like, yes, you should.
You should. You should.
He won with the earth.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with it at all.
Humans have a weird perspective, and I think that partially gets diminished when we do psychedelics, that we're like the only living things on this earth that matter. And you do psychedelics, and it sounds easy to say, like, oh, obviously we know it's not true, but I don't, tripping on psychedelics, you really notice everything else that's alive and make this experience possible. And you see how foolish it is to only focus on ourselves, especially the ego. The ego strips away, but also everything else that's living in our environment.
Imagine, like, say, probably we think after science, we kind of thought we figured everything out.
Mm-hmm.
But I always thought it was from another direction, because we kind of brought what's in the darkness to the light, but sometimes you can bring what's the light into the dark, and I feel like that's what psychedelics do because they take you deeper into your experience, and they kind of, you're in with the light at the same time too, sort of. But like, maybe spiritually and deeply psychologically, people just were very advanced in other directions, hundreds, thousands of years ago, that were humans, and then we just kind of forgot about it as we technologically developed. But imagine having a experience where you're on like shrooms, and then you go deep into the earth, and you actually like bury yourself and have a death and rebirth, and something like how much you would learn in that experience while you're in that space in your head, and you feel like you're birthed from the earth. I would bet 2 nickels that someone has done that, honestly.
I'd hug a rock after that shit.
Yeah, but like, that goes through that whole experience as part of their culture, and like,
Well,
your relationship to it becomes different at that point. You don't want to.
Go ahead.
There you go. My bad.
Well, I was just saying the different types of psychedelics, I feel, give you, a different sort of spiritual or, natural experience, whether it's shrooms or LSD or there's different types of shrooms. What I understand, like different strains of weed, there's different strains of shrooms that'll make you feel different ways. And outside of that, DMT, that's supposed to give you like the ultimate, opening, awakening, realization of what you're supposed to be doing at that time and with your life. So definitely the different. I'm not sure where I was going with this, but you were saying like having that rebirth from the earth, whatever. I feel like a different some other compound might be able to give you that feeling. There's so many different types of indigenous methods and that were used for medicinal remedies that allowed them to feel this one with the earth, I guess, per se.
Yeah, it almost feels like modern society is kind of waking up to the fact that we're kind of disconnected from nature in a lot of ways, in our lives. People are getting sick of drinking unhealthy things, or that was about all I had in my head. But that's got upset with over processed shit. They're more health conscious.
Yeah.
And it's just understanding that we have to interact with nature in a way that we treat it like it's a living thing, as opposed to just saying, hey, it's something that we conquer.
Yeah. And it's incredible to think that the compound that makes us have that shift in perspective is a plant, a plant that, like, in an essence, like, why else would it have? There's no other evolutionary reason for mushrooms to have psilocybin. So it seems nobody can think of a reason other than to have this effect on other living organisms that it encounters.
Yeah. That's a thought. That's an idea.
It's almost like a beacon. It's like, hey, listen to me.
Yeah.
Look at my perspective. Stop beating me down. Stop it. Also interesting, a lot of psychedelic plant. I think ayahuasca is like a vine or something. It's not a vine, but
it's a root.
It's a what?
I think root.
It's a root.
A root.
A root?
Root.
But it's pretty hard to kill, and it'll stick around. So regardless, it can stick around.
It's needed.
And it tries to communicate with us. You could say, if you look at it like that.
Yeah, the fact that it's been around for so long, all these different generations, these different time periods, it's definitely for some reason that's made it persevere through all that shit.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing about humans is that we're aware of this type of stuff and can reflect about it and
Yeah.
reflect on it. But it
Mhm.
almost feels like that's an energy from nature, though, is the desire to just conquer and spread your seed everywhere and imbalance everything.
Mhm.
It's like a very deep desire and instinct. It's
Yeah.
like, and so that comes from nature too. And then
So-
there's other parts of nature that are like, hey, you should probably chill out. You know
Natural
how you know how
balance.
to
Yeah.
find the balance. Talk to us.
Going back to the discussion about hey, live life balance. That's the natural
Yeah.
balance of
But everyone's got a different because everyone's a different type of plant
Yep.
or shroom. And like has their own balance, man.
whoa, man.
Yes.
Yo, Devin, going off of what you said about having, I mean, I forgot what you said, but you said the fact that these compounds are out here like for a reason. What that gives us these perspectives. I think what's crazy going off that is that humans in like other animals do stuff to quote get high or whatnot too, but there's a reason why we have these receptors in our bodies that allow us to do this. Whether it one of the I think one of the mainstream things, pot, weed. It's why are we able to process this stuff, have this stuff attached to our bodies and give us these experiences.
Yeah. If there wasn't a reason for it,
Yeah,
reason.
right, correct, yeah.
Yeah. Trip, man. It almost seems. I mean,
Sometimes you could say that just the fact that the experience of having that, the ability to have those experiences is meaningful in itself. That maybe that's all the justification we need. We don't need a divine reason for it. It's just it means something. We'll figure it out down the road.
It could also, yeah, it could just be like, that's the way it happened,
Yeah, and we just feel it. It's just like, well,
Yeah,
this is something. I don't know what it is, but it's something.
something about it.
The plants are like, I fucking told you, dude. Like it matters. You just gotta wait until you die, and we'll explain it to you a little bit more. But just stop killing us, okay?
so
Like, all right.
Dr. McDermott. I'm speaking the future Dr. McDermott.
All right.
Would you potentially in the future? I'm gonna say when, not if. When psilocybin shrooms, well, psilocybin, the psychoactive ingredient in shrooms, is legal, would you potentially prescribe that to someone?
It's hard. It's very hard for me to say as, thinking in the mind of a medical professional at this stage of my life, because I don't know enough about the ethics of the drug, prescribing medications, the type of patient that I'm going to have. Even the fact of like, it depends on what type of doctor I am, but me as an undergrad student, I see medicinal purposes for different types of plants, or substances, even whatever it be. If there can be a benefit, to help I don't know, how if there's something to help people, I don't see what the issue would be. If that, there's always, we prescribe medications every day. We prescribe opioids for, to relieve pain, but there's so many other side effects. There's costs, costs and benefits for each. There's trade-offs. So it's hard for me to say, but I definitely think I'm for the advancement of medicine and different types of medications, whether it be, more natural, more herbal. I definitely think something needs to be done with, the pharmaceutical companies. I think more research needs to be done. I think there needs to be more funding for researchers that are involved in this stuff, and I think there needs to be more publicity about it.
Yeah.
Knowledgeable publicity. Anybody can go in there and be like, "Oh, this is terrible because this can't do this." It's like, okay, but give me some statistics, give me some facts that are backed up by multiple different studies.
Yeah. Being in the field, do you think the medical field is driven a lot by stigma and some of the things you're talking about, like anecdotal experiences, or do you think the field is able to remain, for the most part, research driven?
I'd like to believe it's more, down to, the facts and basing it off of, there's different there's different oaths you take up when you enter the medical profession, but sadly enough, I mean, I'm just dipping my toes in the water right now on my first time in at least a hospital setting. And I there is, medicine is driven by politics a lot from what I've seen. And I hope that the more that I gain more information and understand more, I can change my perspective on that.
Yeah.
But I but that's kind of like my general outlook on everything. If there's big corporations that they drive a lot of it. The people at the top are, they've got yeah, they'll listen to all of us protesting and, going on strike, but, they've got the ultimate saying up there. They're doing the funding. They're the ones giving out the paychecks. What they say goes for the most part.
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents. I don't like to think that everything is, per se corrupt, but I definitely think on the topic of medication advancement, I think there needs to be more done about it, more research and more backing of it and more support for it.
Yeah. Do you think we'd get more done or have more advancements in medicine if it wasn't so political?
I think so, but I also feel like politics helps as well at the same time. If the independent researchers out there, they gotta go out and they gotta appeal to these bigger people to get the funding for stuff. So I do think, I forgot what the original question was, but
politics and whether that's like.
Do you think there'd be more
useful or
advanced?
corrupting.
Yeah. Do you think there'd be more advancement if it wasn't so political, or do you think the
yeah, all in all, from like what I understand and what I have experienced personally, yes, I do think so. There's a few good pieces of literature online. There's a few good videos and stuff kind of exposing the corruptness of different fields, fields of medicine, different, even outside of medicine that kind of has an impact on it. That's these bigger companies working together for, whether it be money, an alternative motive, I don't know, power. That there's some good stuff out there to at least help you recognize like what might be going on out there.
Yeah. Scary. What, just kind of off tangent, not too much, but what do you think, or what's your viewpoint on private healthcare versus universal healthcare?
Okay, that's a good one. I don't have too much knowledge on the field. I haven't, I know that's with during the initial presidential race, that's a few candidates where had different views. I didn't take the time to look into it a whole lot, but I do think there needs to be something done. I do think people need to be seen, when they need to be seen. I don't think people, there's some instances where people can't afford it, or people don't have access to it. I've done a lot of studying in developing countries and seeing their healthcare system and comparing it to the United States. It's kind of eye-opening. Back in over the winter semester, I was down in the Dominican Republic, doing like an experiential learning, following different doctors in different fields, and down there there's a lot of corruption down there, but a lot of, I don't know if it's considered universal healthcare, but they get people from Haiti coming over illegally, and if they want, or if they need to be seen in the hospital, they're going to be seen, they're going to be given care. I mean, I'm not saying that's not happening here in the US, but just seeing what other countries do for whether it's illegal immigrants or the poorer population, I did appreciate what they were doing, and it did give me more motivation to delve deeper into the ethics of our healthcare system.
I mean, I know you won't say it. I'll say it as far as my experience. It does seem like in some instances that there are people that just don't get seen because of the system we have in place. I work in a different setting. I work in an outpatient clinic, so maybe it's a little bit different than a hospital, but you definitely see people that need care. And I work at a clinic that actually works really hard to try and see everybody, and still there's instances where it's like, sorry, you know.
Yeah. I do believe, like, medical care, healthcare, people need to be taken care of. They really do. Some people aren't dealt the same cards as other people. Some people make worse decisions than other people to get them, whatever it may be. I don't think people should be judged on where they're at because they need to get, their arm scanned to see if they need something done to it, or, to improve their quality of life at least.
Yeah. Well,
Goddamn right.
hell yeah, man. I love that that's your mindset, and I'm glad there's individuals like you going into the healthcare field, because I think that needs to be the overall mindset. Not saying that it isn't. I'm sure you have a lot more positive experience being behind the lines, but
Right.
Obviously, it takes at least to some degree a person with a good heart and good motives to get into that field.
I like to think so, and I like to think a lot of people have the similar, if not an even better mindset than I do.
Yeah.
It's always the good and the bad, man. It's always the good.
Mhm.
But there's good and bad, and then there's politicians. Sorry. I zoned out for a second. My apologies.
No,
you got to play the politics of the field regardless. That's about as much as I can say in a meta way, because then I'm out of my wheelhouse. I don't know a lot about this, but
Yeah.
I agree that, there's always going to be some shitheads and some good people. That's some cross disciplines too. That's academics. That's politicians. It's healthcare.
Just points to
business.
The power of politics, that you can have a field completely, not completely obviously, but for the most part full of people that really want to just give people care, but politics is so powerful that in ways that it's corrupted it. Not to say that it is corrupt, but in certain ways it's not working as best it can or it should with individuals that went into it for different reasons, for good reasons.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Even in business in general, I feel like there's that good and bad struggle in any industry.
Yeah, sure.
There's people that are businessmen genuinely because they want to make the world function better, or they want to serve a purpose. And then there's some people who just say, fuck you, I want mine.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to do whatever I need to do to get mine.
Yeah.
Which, weird enough, our economy is structured in a way where they still kind of help us, even if they're dickheads or guy or girl. So
yeah,
it's like
that's just true.
Some of your wealth will distribute and you'll feed some local business.
Yeah.
But I've met business people that I was like, fuck yeah, you have great humanitarian and like vibes to you. And then I've met others where it's like, I want to hit you in your throat, you little weasel.
Yeah. Right.
But I can't, like, it sucks about living in a democracy. I can't hit him in the throat because then I get arrested. But part of me is like, I want to hit you. Like, I don't like you. You're cocky. You don't shut the fuck up. Yada, yada, yada. But he might say about me, you think too much. You're annoying. I don't want to talk about this deep shit. And I want to, like, get the job done. And you're just crazy and annoying. So that's people dealing with people.
It's an ecosystem.
Same thing with healthcare. They might be like, well, those people are decadent and depraved anyway. They don't need help. And more compassionate people are like, yes, they do. We should help them. They matter.
Yeah.
And then more decadent, more like bitter people will just say, like, well, screw it. I'd rather put more money in this because it works. Or fire the healthcare person because they're not working out. But dealing with humans is different than dealing with numbers.
Yeah, it's true.
We need to find that balance,
which
you could say is maternal energy.
Sure.
But the health, depending if you guys want to talk about that or not, but that you could say that's like the all-loving mother and then the father that says you have to get shit done.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like you gotta love your kid regardless of what he's like, but then the dad's like, you could be a lot better and you gotta get off your ass on the couch, stop eating chips. I don't know, it's like, well, mom loves me, but it's like, well, you can be better, and you gotta find that balance.
Mm.
I don't know how I got there exactly, but it's somehow connected to what we were talking about. But part of
Absolutely.
me diverged a little bit, but
It's those shrooms still kicking in, bro.
yeah, man.
We're on a peak trip right now.
Yeah. You look like fire.
Yo, side note, you still shredding it on the guitar? You still playing a bit?
A bit.
Yeah.
Plays more than I do. I've actually been DJing a little bit, and then not crazy, but just playing around. I like to think of it like it's kind of like soul food. It just makes me feel better.
Yeah.
If I don't do it, then I start getting angry. And I'm like irritable. But and then playing around
Right.
with graphic art a little bit, and then been doing this podcast. But
That's cool, man.
what time you got work, brother, man? Because I want to keep you too long.
I mean, I should start getting ready in a little bit for sure.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, dude, this has been awesome. This exceeded my expectation. I don't know what I was thinking when I was coming in here, but I'm glad we've just been able to go at it, just toss ideas back and forth, and I had a great time.
Friend.
Yeah,
It's like we just riff on ideas, and then hopefully we entertain people, and then get
Yeah.
something going.
I
That's cool.
appreciate you doing it with us, man. I mean, I wish I could say we've been keeping up better, but it's been nice catching up with you, and hopefully we'll be in better touch now. But
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think this is definitely going to be a catalyst. Are you guys still both in Tucson right now then?
Yeah, man. I mean,
Okay.
the offer still stands if you want to visit.
yeah,
Oh, okay. I just took some time off from, my restaurant job because I realized that I've been putting a lot of time into work, and I haven't been doing what I've been actually wanting to do, and I've been wanting to get out and explore a little bit more. So maybe I'll have some free time and be able to make it out.
yeah,
Be
please
dope.
do.
That would be a great time.
Maybe hold up until half of Tucson's not on fire, but it's your choice.
Yeah. So do you guys have are there different like restrictions that going on right now publicly, or?
It's really eased up a lot, honestly. They evacuated some apartment complexes at the head of Swan, which is like the main road, if you remember,
Yeah.
up to the mountains. But other than that, it's been pretty relaxed. People are slowly getting back to work. And I don't know, but I mean, as we're experiencing a huge surge in coronavirus cases throughout the nation,
Right.
people are going back, though, and we'll see what happens. Bars are slowly reopening, some of them.
Cool.
Curfew's not enforced anymore, so that's good.
Yeah.
If you'd like to, I got a buddy that was both of our friends, but I think you'd really get along with him, really like him. He's going to be playing if there's a season, he's going to be playing for the U of A football team. If you want to come down for a game, I feel like,
Oh, yes, that would be awesome.
Yep.
That'd be fun. I definitely that's one thing that I'm gonna utilize here, or take advantage of here, is we got a pretty good tailgating scene, sports scene, and I honestly haven't been to one football game here while I've been at Iowa.
Really?
I went to a few down at U of A, and I had a blast there. So absolutely, I'll definitely make it down. And if you guys want to come, you guys should definitely come up here once our season's fun. I'll let you know that some good dates, a few different ones that you guys could come check out.
absolutely.
For sure.
Be a good time.
Cool.
Right on, brother. What do you want to end us with? You got anything powerful that we should keep in mind? Doesn't even have to be powerful. It can be like silly too. I don't care. Or you don't have to say anything.
Yeah, just keep in touch with friends, man. Keep in touch with buddies. This is I haven't talked to you guys in how long, and I feel like we just picked up from where we left off the last time, and I like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right on.
So take that with your other friends you have met and like haven't talked to in a while, but you vibed with in the past. Just let them know, hey, what's up? How you been? It's always appreciated. It's always nice to check in.
Yeah, it is. Right on, brother.
Glad you're doing good, man. Really happy.
Glad y'all are prospering as well, and I appreciate it. Much love.
Much love.
And if this audition went well today, and maybe I can be back again, I'd love to chat.
No,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah, we'll do it again.
Maybe guest appearance from. Do you still have Betty?
Yeah. Oh, Brooke.
Brooke.
Brooke. Brooke, well, Brooke actually passed away, but I've got Brooke Jr. So yeah, she can make an appearance for sure.
It'd be pretty funny. We should do that.
Yeah.
How does a dildo pass away? What-
Let's get thrown out.
No, I actually gave it as a gift to my girlfriend at the time's dad, as like a present, because Brooke went everywhere with us, and so he knew about it. He thought it was funny, so I gave it to him as like a gift,
Oh, it's
thinking like, thinking he'd give it back to me, but he kept it. And I've actually like received videos of them like messing around, like tossing it around, and like recently.
Oh.
So she's still alive, just not in my possession anymore.
That's beautiful.
There you go. If you love it, let it go. Right?
I'm glad she's still getting put to use for sure.
She's in a good place.
That's pretty fucking funny.
All right, brother, man, go save some lives.
I'll do my best. Take care, guys.
All right.
See you.